What's up, desktoppers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and today I am joined by Martin Fitzwater, a member of the Bodybuilding University podcast, IFB Pro Bodybuilder, and he's making his debut for 2022 this weekend at the Texas Pro in what is the hardest lineup of the year by far, outside of maybe the Arnold Classic, but this still rivals it. So, man, it's such a silly question. How are you feeling? So, however many days out you are now, 3 days out? How's it all going along, and how are you feeling? And I suppose, a tough lineup. How does that feel going into that sort of a lineup?
Yeah, man. Well, first things first. I mean, you've got to see kind of behind the scenes, which is kind of cool, I'm sure, for you.
Yeah.
I've been sending you a little sneak peeks and stuff. So today was the first day we added back in some food. And honestly, like everybody kind of goes through the struggles, man. The past 2 days before this, I've been kind of in my head a little bit, flat. I know my conditioning is pretty spot on. I'm very, very happy with it. I think the homework was done there, and we did a good job. So I'm not really worried about the conditioning. I was worried that I was kind of getting in a hole and that I was going to struggle to come out of it because my upper body, my chair broke.
Did your chair break?
Yeah, it didn't, but it just let loose on the lock.
Oh,
But realistically, man, I was just in my head. I was just having a body dysmorphia moment. And everybody around me kind of eased my head. So obviously, I know Branch isn't going to blow smoke. I got to train with Keon the past 2 days. So that was another ease on my head, just him telling me like, bro, you look insane and your conditioning is wild and stuff. So that was good, man. Today with the added in food, obviously, your mind always gets a little bit eased, right? So I've had some carbs, got to look at myself, starting to see things fill back out, and very, very happy with the look. I'm super excited with that post-training look that I sent you. And it was, and that's barely touching food yet. So just gonna get things shuttled around today. Quite a bit of carbs, a higher food day today, and then just keeping everybody kind of along for the ride with YouTube, trying to get things pumped out as quick as we can. And, but so today was a high day. We'll run about 700 carbs and see where we're at in the morning as far as fullness goes. But very happy, man. This morning I was 236 and some change waking up. And that's the furthest we've pushed me down in a good bit. I see myself being somewhere around 240 on stage. So
awesome.
maybe 238-ish probably after drying out. But I'll definitely be able to hold my own there with being 5'7" and right in there. So definitely excited for what we're bringing, man. Definitely improved ungodly. I'm a totally different bodybuilder than I was last year. So that's all that matters to me, really.
Yeah, and man, when I've been talking to people privately and go, if one person asked, oh, how do you think Martin will do in this lineup? And I said, man, he's going to do really well. Like, I don't know exactly where you fit in, because it's I'm going to do like a little one of those YouTube shorts and Instagram reel things, and basically say like 5 guys who I think can win the show, or 6 guys or whatever, because there's legitimately a whole bunch of guys. Like, yeah, there's favorites, but there's a ton of guys, and I put you in that group that can win this show. And it's crazy to say, because there's guys at a top 10 Olympia level. So that's obviously how much I think of your physique, and the fact that you're going to fit in there somewhere. And I just can't wait to see where it is, because sometimes it's about comparisons as well. Like, sometimes you'll match up really well against this guy. And I actually just interviewed Keem, and this would have gone up, Keem's will go up just before this, and he basically, I said, you next to Brandon Curry at that Olympia where he came 6th. There's some shots I was like, whoa, Akeem looks crazy next to Brandon. And I felt like that was a good comparison for him, but he might stand next to someone else and go, oh, okay, he's not there. So I think that, you sort of stand out a little bit in this lineup, because, you and Kamal are sort of, you're taller than Kamal, but you know what I mean? You're sort of that middle guy, and you don't really, you're not the height of Quinton or Andrew Jacked and those sorts of guys. And you got actually Big Bundy as well, who's doing this show, another tall guy. So you got a bunch of really tall guys, and you're sort of somewhere in the middle between the short ones and the tall ones. So I think you'll stand out, man. And I think it's a good thing for you. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, honestly, man, I think the 2 things that will really propel me, honestly, that kind of give me that standout factor like you're talking about is 1, conditioning, and 2, the height thing. So like you said, I'm going to be very compact and dense, which I think sometimes hides, like lagging body parts, if you will, you know, making sure that I'm completely filled out versus some of these guys have longer limbs that are harder to fill out. Um, so I think that that would be a benefit to me. And then also the conditioning, just like Kamal, whether he was small or not at the last show, he stood out and purely off of conditioning. And I think that we're going to do that too. Branch Warren was a conditioning king, and if he tells me I'm ready, then I'm ready, man. I don't need much more than that for me to know that I'm there. So he was as pumped as I've ever seen him this morning, man. He was smiling ear to ear. So I'm very excited to see what we bring together, man. And I know that if it all comes together as planned, it'll be something pretty wild.
Yeah, and I think the reason why I'm so big on your physique as well, Martin, is because you've got, like Brett said actually in our podcast, which you weren't on, which will go up just before this interview. He said you've got like the black man muscle, like you got the round, bubbly muscle. You've got, looks like you're getting towards that, that what James Hollingshead would call Caucasian dry conditioning. So you got those good combinations. You're a great height for a bodybuilder. You're starting to really fill out your frame, and it seems to all be coming together. And I think that this could be a show where some people might be expecting you to fit behind the Quintons and all those sorts of guys, but I think that you're going to be like, look at that shot. Like if people aren't looking at that and sort of going, okay, we need to take notice, then that's crazy to me, because something I don't see, like last year you didn't have the deep striations of the muscle, and I just saw then on the side chest I can see all sorts of grainy sort of looking lines going through it. So that's encouraging for me. So as long as you're not going to hold water and you're not super flat or something, which I can't see you going that way, I think you're going to do very well, man. So yeah, that's why I guess I'm so excited. And you've got obviously some people that are obviously big Nick Walker fans that might be a bit disparaging towards you and stuff like that. But I think honestly, like, you have that same sort of confidence, I guess, and sometimes that until you prove yourself like the highest level, sometimes that will get more detractors. But obviously when you do prove yourself, I think that you'll get a lot of those people that are doubters becoming fans. So I suppose, how does that all feel in terms of how you're looking in terms of those striations and all that sort of stuff? Are you seeing all new stuff come through that you've never seen before?
Yeah, man. I mean, like I said before, I reached a level of conditioning that was very, very good when I won my pro card way back. And I feel like I'm probably same body fat now, if you will, but the density, the maturity, and the amount of muscle mass that I put on in this last year, man, is incredible. What Branch and I did, the amount of food that I ate, and the training that I did with Brian Dobson, my back, my legs, they improved drastically. My muscle maturity improved drastically. And the thing is, man, is I've kept things under wrap and kind of hid things because we know just how much of a wow factor that we can have. So I'm just giving people glimpses, and I kind of like being this dark horse, to be honest. And I'm enjoying not being talked about for the top five or the top three. I came in here last year at say 80%, if you will, 85%, and I got a top five placing. And I know that I would mop the floor with that bodybuilder
Yeah.
today. So, without doing a single thing, I would have mopped him up this morning without eating a carb. So I'm not worried about that. I'm very excited for what's to come, man. Honestly, just I came to Texas for a reason. I put my nose down. I tried to not do much talking, and really just let the work show for itself, man. Branch and I, we knew exactly what we needed to do, and we knew that if we got me peeled, like Brett said, I have this bubbly shape that doesn't really it just kind of doesn't seem like it belongs, to be honest. So I kind of have this wow factor that I think if we put it all together, that it can really be dangerous. And if you get to see the behind the scenes, you get to see some of those dangerous shots that we really think are going to blow people's minds. But I definitely think we'll show out. I'm excited, man. Today I got on the phone with Branch about 45 minutes ago, and he just Dude, it's cool to have him be as excited as he is, because I know just how good we are if he's that excited. You know, he was
Yeah.
number 2 in the world. He's been against the best bodybuilders to ever live on this planet. He trained with Ronnie every day, man. Branch isn't going to blow any smoke up my butt. If I wasn't ready and he thought I was going to get my butt kicked, he'd tell me. And he thinks we can win this, man. So I'm very confident in what we can do, but we just got to go do it and show out now, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Now, you're a guy that comes across as like, to be honest, like a Nick Walker, like how his confidence was prior to actually competing in that. I think it was a New York Pro where he won that, and everyone was like, "Oh, okay." He was right. Like he came in, he beat Justin Rodriguez, who looked fantastic the week before at the Indy Pro. And myself as well, I picked Justin Rodriguez to win that New York Pro. And after I seen the contest, he obviously easily won it. Now you seem to come across with that same level of confidence. And I remember back when before Nick Walker actually won that New York Pro, there was other IFBB pros, there was detractors against him saying that he's cocky and I'll wait till we see him on the big stages, all that sort of stuff. And I feel like you're sort of at that point now, being like, oh, Martin thinks he can do this, blah, 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 he won't. And I feel like you're about to shut a lot of people up. So I want to ask, man, like, what would you say if I said, like, okay, you have to put it on the line, your life's on the line, what place are you going to place at this show? What would you say?
I'm going to win this thing, man. I really do believe that. I think we put in the work. And to be honest, like, nothing against these guys, man. They're all unbelievably gifted, man. They've all done some amazing things in bodybuilding. I just think that with the conditioning that I'm going to bring to this, I think that I'll have a wow factor that can really just really turn the lights out. Um, I again, like you said, some people are going to think that it's arrogance. Some people are going to think that it's competence. This time I'm really, really proud of the work that I've done, man. If I don't win, whoever beat me, they earned it, because I worked my butt off this time for this one.
Yeah.
I couldn't say that last year. I couldn't tell you that I did everything possible to make sure that I was my best. But this time I can say that, man. I put in 365 days of really working my butt off to make sure that this was a good one.
That's awesome. I love to hear that, man. It's almost like that Dorian Yates mentality, and I'm sure it's a Branch Warren mentality too. Like you want to be able to stand on the stage and say, "I couldn't have done an extra thing to sort of be better," And I feel like
Yep.
you've definitely got that, and you've got that confidence about you this year, like on another level. And I love that. So I think it's really cool, man. But obviously, we mentioned this, I think, on another podcast on our Bodybuilding University one. But training out there in Texas, like in that heat, in Ronnie Coleman's, former gym, Branch Warren's, current gym still, obviously, Metroflex there in Arlington, Texas. Like, man, what's that like? And obviously, I've seen videos of you literally just profusely sweating. Like, that's going to be hard to sort of stay hydrated. And I know you said you take some electrolytes and stuff, but what's that like compared to what you were maybe used to back at Armburst when you was training with Brett?
Yeah, man. It's next level, dude. It's a different way. And honestly, to be honest, I think it's the secret to conditioning. It's my secret weapon. I've The first months, man, I threw up. I got heat exhaustion. I probably got heat stroke a couple times. I don't even know. There was multiple sessions where I got sick afterwards. Dehydration, probably needed to get an IV bag, but just we got it back. But to be honest, man, it's hardened my mind. Training in this heat like this, man, and really wanting it, you got to earn it sometimes. Some of these days it's 110 in that building, maybe more even, because it's like 105 outside and the thing's like a hot box in there. Um, and at points in time in the off season, especially, I was training with a hoodie on because I was trying to mentally push my limits as far as that went. And I think it made a difference, man. Um, I love it now. I think it's my secret weapon. Like I said, I mean, you can lose 4 or 5 pounds in a session, and you want to dig things out, you want to earn it. This will make you earn it. I mean, you get out of the car, and by the time you get to the gym, you've already sweated through your t-shirt. To go do a session like that sometimes on low days and stuff, you really, really got to want it pretty bad. And I think that between that and then having the motivation of going in that building where the two hardest workers in bodybuilding ever came up and did it all, man, it's pretty easy to just want to freaking kill it.
Yeah.
But I definitely, it definitely was a big change for me, and I think that it hardened my mind, if you will.
Yeah, for sure. Now, you're obviously competing not only in Texas this weekend, and we'll chat about some of the competitors you're going against as well soon, but you also do an Arnold Classic UK, which is a pretty big show. You know, obviously that's a huge title. Obviously, it offers more prize money as well. Do you know what it offers for first place for that one?
Yeah, it's 50K.
Oh, nice. So you'd obviously have your eye on that. And there's going to be some good competitors there. You got James Hollingshead. You're going to have Andrew Jack there again, which will be cool because if you guys are close at this show, it'll be a cool sort of rematch at the Arnold Classic UK. Um, which show do you reckon looks harder between the Arnold Classic UK and the Texas this weekend? Because they're both tough contests.
Interesting. That's actually a really tough question. To be honest, I think the Arnold UK probably, based off of potential, but Texas, we know kind of what we're gonna see from these guys because a lot of them we just saw this last weekend. So, the names that are on the list for the Arnold UK, if everyone shows out, that list is a star-studded lineup. But a couple of those guys we haven't seen in quite a while, so that might be a hit or miss thing. Whereas, like I said, a lot of these guys coming into this Texas Pro, we've seen last weekend. We know Quinton is good. We know Kamal is good. So those factors make it kind of hard to say. Um, I think Texas is star-studded, man. We know Kuclo's amazing. Andrew is amazing, obviously, and he's going to be at the Arnold UK. So that name kind of is crossed out on both, if you will, because it goes for both.
Mm,
And James is absolutely incredible, man. Obviously, he's kind of the guy to beat over in the UK, other than Nathan. So those names are huge. You got Lionel; he's going to be over there at the UK. There's some other really big names, but they're guys that we haven't seen for a while. So it'd be kind of interesting to see if they show out when they come back. I'm probably most excited to compete here just because it's my home, man. Everyone,
mm.
I know this crowd is gonna go wild when I go on this stage. A lot of my friends are gonna be here. Some of my family's gonna be here. It'll be a big deal, man. It'll mean a lot to me. So I'll be super excited to compete in the UK and shake hands and get to meet all my fans over there. But this one, I get to sleep in my own bed, drive over, hopefully win the damn thing, drive home with my trophy, and get to sleep in my own bed at home that night. So
Yeah.
this one, this one's probably means a lot more to me than the UK does.
There's no better feeling, Matt, is there? Like actually winning a contest, like in your home state, like not far from your house, and you just get to drive home, and then you know what restaurants you're going to. It's like sort of like a really comforting feeling. And man, I don't know. Some people don't like friends and family and stuff being at their contests. I love it, man. Like it's cool to almost like, especially with you, man, as able to like get up on stage and everyone goes, oh yeah, like probably thinking, oh, he won't win, and then you go and win a contest, and you're like, holy crap, you look really good, man. Like it's like they're sort of surprised, and I'm sure, obviously, being a pro bodybuilder, everyone's like, holy crap, like we know Martin, but we know he's a bodybuilder, but we don't know he's like that crazy good. So I think that's sort of like it's sort of a fun feeling as well to be able to, sort of show off your hard work as well. So yeah, it's got to
Yeah,
feel
man.
cool.
Like you said, to me, I love that. I grew up kind of poor, and my family couldn't travel and stuff always for like my football games and all that kind of stuff. So anytime someone can come watch me and compete and be there to support me, man, that means the world to me. It will be really cool for me. This is Gasp and Better Bodies will be there. They're a big sponsor of the show.
Awesome.
Freddie and Sheila are the promoters that we do lots of stuff with here in Texas and the MPC. So it'll just be big for me, man. I want, like I've told you guys on the podcast before. I know Steve Kuclo is Texas's golden boy, if you will,
Yeah.
uh, and maybe Hunter Labrada is the next guy to be that Texas's bodybuilder. But at the end of the day, I want to be that hardworking Texas's bodybuilder that Branch was. So if I can go win this show and kind of prove my footstep right there and start the legacy, if you will. It'd be a good start to do it right here in Dallas.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I cannot wait for it. Is there a pay-per-view this weekend? I think there is, isn't there?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think the best place to find it is going to be up on battleupproductions.com.
Yeah.
And they have an Instagram as well.
I'll put the link in the description of this video as well. So if people want to jump on and get that pay-per-view, I highly recommend it because they do a really good job as well. I remember the show production last year, like Ian
Arnold.
and everyone that did the show walked away from it and said it was like absolutely next level. So yeah, I can't wait to, see that contest and see all their stage production and all that sort of stuff. And obviously the lineups are absolutely crazy. Now I think Nathan Epperly's actually jumping into the open against you guys as well, which I was like really surprised with. And when we did our preview on the last episode of Bodybuilding University, we sort of actually, Brett says, I think that's a typo. Like, so we discussed him in the 212. So I think we messed up there. But what do you
Oh,
think about that move, like going forward for Nathan?
yeah, I mean, obviously, like we've talked, like I've said on the podcast before, I think that's a move for Nathan. He needed to do that anyways. Um, I knew that, or I know that eventually he's going to take probably a year and grow into the open. So maybe it was really hard for him to make 212s at Tampa. I'm not really sure. And maybe he can fill himself out a little bit more. I don't know as if he's going to be able to hang because this lineup is going to be big. There are a lot of big guys, Even I'm considered a small guy, if you will, in this lineup, and I'm 2 inches shorter than Nathan and got some pounds on him. So it'll be interesting to see, but he's diced and conditioning is king, man. So I'm pumped for him. I think that this is a good move for him, and I'm pumped to compete with him again. The last time I competed with Nathan, he beat me at USA's when in like 2018.
Yeah,
So hopefully get my little redemption.
get one back.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll even bump elbows, but we'll see, man. So it'd be cool to have him in the open. I'm excited for him. I think that, like I said, I think it was a good move. I think that eventually that's his future anyway. So it's good for him to see where he lines up and what he needs to grow to be in an open lineup.
Yeah, man, for sure. And I wanted to give a shout out as well because I was meant to mention it before to your YouTube channel because you mentioned you're trying to get as much stuff out as you can. Man, you were getting stuff out every day. Sometimes I think even twice a day you've got one of them out. So like you've got 12 days out. You like going to the gym, doing all that sort of stuff. You've got like things of you doing therapy, like your foot. Here we go. This is I don't know how many days that is. Last leg day, recovery
11
one,
days.
10 day out, 9 days, 8 days, another 8 day one out. So it's like you are pumping out content, man. It's really high quality. So I suggest to anyone, go and check out Martin's YouTube channel. It's not getting as many views as I think it deserves, to be honest. And I think as soon as you do really well in this contest, I think all the views on these are going to bump up a little bit. So I'll put the
Yeah.
link in the description below. So everyone check that out because it is a really, really good YouTube channel. And as you can see, I've been watching the videos on here and yeah, it's really cool. And this one's with Ariel Kadar, who's your partner as well. So
Yeah.
I'll watch
We
that
got
one
her
next.
back home. So yeah, she's here now finally, man, and everything's settled in. Today was the last training session. So now content's gonna be pumped out a lot quicker just because he's got to film a lot less. Now he can kind of edit a little bit more. And now it's just final touches. Tomorrow we start the boring stuff, if you will, the shaving and the tanning and the part of bodybuilding that kind of sucks, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, the
Um,
shaving is annoying, man.
it's the worst, man. At least I'm not hairy. I will, I huge shout out to all you hairy guys. I am so sorry because
Bro, I am
man,
so hairy. So bad.
bro, I have like 5 back hairs and it's like the worst thing for me. So I
Are you
can't imagine.
serious?
Yeah,
I had my
like
back
I
shaved 2 days ago and I let it get long. It was, man, it's like pubic hair all over my back. It's horrible.
I get like 3 like on my one trap and like 4 on my other trap, and that's like it. So I'm not even a hairy guy, and it's still like the worst for me. So I can't imagine what it's like for you guys.
We have a
But
rough
yeah,
one.
so that part starts tomorrow. And other than that, man, it's kind of just fun, smile, pose, eat, evaluate the look. So Branch and I will look at me in the morning and then go on throughout the day, just kind of meal by meal. Probably tomorrow, got check-ins tomorrow at 5 and our first 10 at 6:30 tomorrow. So really it's like we're here. It's over. Now it's like anticipation and anxiety, I guess, if you will.
Yeah, I bet. Like, obviously, like it's such a big show, but man, I think you should be confident in your look, and like you said, you even get in your own head, like you come across as a super confident guy, but like you said, you got in your own head the other day for a couple of days, and it's like it's very very easy to do, and it happens to everyone. I'm sure it happens to Mr. Olympia even. So, I think it's cool to hear you actually be honest and real about that, and not just be like, oh yeah, I think every single day I'm the best. It's cool to hear like had a couple of days of doubt, but yeah, okay, yeah, back to being confident, I guess.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, if I'm being real with you guys, I'm human too. I have moments of depression. Some of this time in prep was tough. Pushing was hard, and definitely had to earn it. And like you said, man, we all have mental lapses. So like, I mean, two days ago, I was like a mess. It wasn't really, like I said, I don't even really know why. It just happens sometimes in prep. And it took Keon taking a couple videos of me posing and him being like, "You're absolutely silly, bro. Like, stop. Like, just being dumb. Like, you're a little bit flat. You're not even all the way flat. Like, stop." Um, and that's all it took. So sometimes you got your people, lean on them. But we all have those moments. Even being a pro bodybuilder and being very confident, like I said, I truly think that I can win this show. And I still was like freaking out yesterday. So it's part of the game. It's all part of bodybuilding. And that's what makes this sport really hard, man, is it's just as much of a mental battle as it is a physical battle.
Yeah, for sure. Now, we did the podcast yesterday, and I don't even know if, you wouldn't even know this unless you've spoken to Brett. But I was basically looking for a few people to jump on to replace you and Nathan, who Nathan had to miss the podcast as well. So it was just me and Brett. So we got on Stanimal. So he was like the guy that was on for the whole podcast, which was cool. So we got a really good story out of him as well about like, he talked about Sean Roden and all that sort of stuff and how it left a big hole in his life. So we had that. We had Lee Priest. He came on for about half an hour or so. We had
Yeah.
Chris Cormier. He came on for about half an hour. And then we also had one guy you're going against this weekend. We had Andrew Jacks on for about 10 minutes at the start. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about your thoughts about going against Andrew Jacks, because he's a guy that's apparently 6'2", which is obviously a huge stature. And I wanted to get your thoughts on how you actually match up with Andrew and how you think you might be able to, take advantage of that matchup. I don't know if you look at guys and go, okay, well, I'm going to do this when I'm on stage next to him, but I guess I wanted to get your opinion on Andrew and how you match up.
Yeah, man. I think Andrews, I mean, obviously, he's one of the most impressive guys that we've seen in a very, very long time. With him being as tall as he is, man, he has really long limbs. I think that that's something that I can take advantage of. Like I said, with my short stature, I can kind of hide any small imbalances that I have because I am a little bit more compact. His shape is wild. I'm lucky that I have good shape as well, so I think that I can compare there. And then I think that really the thing that'll carry me against him the best is that my conditioning. Like I said, my goal is to bring lights out conditioning that's Branch Warren style, where when you stand next to me, you look fat.
Mm.
If I can do that, then that's my advantage against him. The guy is unbelievably gifted. He obviously can carry twice as much muscle as me. He's got like 7 inches on me or something like that. So, the dude is a freak for sure. I'm excited because I definitely think I'm going to get a stand next to him. So I'll be interested to see how we compare against each other.
Yeah.
Like I said, being this is a tall lineup. Kuclo's tall, Quinton is tall, Andrew is tall. So I do think that it is going to be to my advantage that I'm a little bit more compact, a little bit more dense. Especially my back shots, they're really compact and really dense, and I think that that will be one of my advantages going into this, where some of these guys are a little bit long.
Yeah. And the only real similarity that you and Andrew have is both that you have more aesthetic type physiques and also that you have very round muscle. But outside of that, I mean, like you said, he's got the really long limbs. So he's got the really long limb length. And I have no idea how you two will look next to each other. Honestly, like I'm like, I could see a scenario where you're the best of both worlds in terms of, you're somewhere between Kamal and the tall guys and you're a little bit more maybe complete looking, because you don't really have any weaknesses on your physique, man. And you've got the crazy conditioning. So it could be a conditioning, roundness, and just, you know, the best of a bit of everyone, where that gives you an advantage. So I mean, I have no idea how this will play out. But it's extremely exciting because it's, you know, whoever wins this show, it's such a big step forward for going into Mr. Olympia, because you're not just beating a chump lineup, you're beating a damn good lineup. So
No,
very, very
you're playing an Arnold Classic quality lineup, in my opinion, for sure.
Yep, absolutely, man. Because even outside of that top, like the top 5 or top 6 is ridiculous. But even outside of that, you got some really good competitors that are going to place, you know, 6th to 10th as well. So yeah, it's crazy. I can't believe like the difference in the shows earlier in the year, where some shows only got like 7 competitors compared to this lineup. So but it's cool to see. Hopefully next year everyone spaces it out a little bit more, so it's
Yeah.
good competitors in, you know, the earlier lineups and stuff. And I'm sure some guys will see that. And I mean, will that change, like for you, like looking at contests for just say next year or any year, if you knew the better guys competed at the end of the year generally, or more of the top names, would you target the earlier shows, or would you still just go with whatever show and think that, you know, I have to win a show anyway to get to the Olympia and might as well beat top competition?
Yeah, I mean, for me, man, it's more about like winning certain titles, right? There's certain shows that I want the title of. And other than that, like obviously it's a journey to the Olympia, but I want to be a bodybuilder that it doesn't matter what show I pick. I'm going to win the damn thing. Even if it's an Arnold Classic, you kind of expect to go into it, you know. So Branch at the end of his career, it was like you did the Arnold Classic, you did the Olympia. Then there came a point in time when you had to win a show, and then Arnold, you know, he would do the Arnold. If he didn't win, he would go do the show the next weekend, hopefully get your Olympia qualification, and boom, you do the Olympia. I'm obviously want to get to that point. I'm not going to change up things to get an easier qualification, because all that means is I go against harder guys when I go to the Olympia. If I'm beating those star-studded lineups, you're on your journey for a top 5 at the Olympia. That's what I expect out of myself eventually. So you know, you got to beat those good guys eventually. Might as well go beat them where you want the title. So there's things like the New York Pro is something that I eventually want to win. That's a super prestigious title, and I want that ring eventually. So I think that that one's pretty important. Obviously, we all want to win an Arnold Classic. I'd like to win a couple of them. Australia was one that I really, really wanted to win, to be honest. I don't know
Hopefully it
if we'll
comes
ever,
back.
yeah, I don't know if we'll get it back, but that was one Branch really, really loved, and so that would mean a lot to me to do that one.
That'd be cool.
Um, and then obviously he won Ohio, so I would like to do that as well. And then I have an opportunity to do the UK. And then after that, man, like there's some other shows that I've kind of peaked at and I think are great shows, but you know, just kind of be where my body is, where my health is, how blood work looks, and how preps go. As a pro, you know, you have to take all those things into consideration and what I need to improve, you know. So if we come out of this and they tell me, you know, hey, you're amazing, but you need to go grow 5 to 7 pounds, is it really that beneficial to go do the Arnold UK? Yeah, I'll probably do that, but then afterwards shut it down for quite a bit of time and go grow if I need to do so. You know, I'm gonna do whatever's necessary to put myself in a position to be top 5 in the world.
Yeah, awesome. Love to hear it, man. And I think a lot of guys don't have that sort of discipline, but it seems like you're locked in, obviously, and you're so, you're on your game with everything, man. All the therapies, you know, obviously, you know, moving your life and living in the places where you're, you know, it's most benefit to you to actually grow and make bodybuilding, you know, a more of a big thing for you even. So I think it's obviously that shows the dedication. And, you know, we see that from a few guys, but some other guys are not willing to maybe sacrifice as much or whatever for bodybuilding. So I think it's cool, man. But before we wrap things up, man, do you want to let us know where we can find you on like what your name is on what we put out before on YouTube, and people can find you in the description as well. But how do people find you on social media and YouTube and all that sort of stuff? And if people want to get in contact with you?
Yeah, of course, guys. So you guys have my Instagram. You know, it's Mart Fitz H2O. It's a little play on science there, so you know it's water, but H2O instead. So you have that there. Obviously, my YouTube, Martin the Martian. You guys can follow along, subscribe. Make sure to get in the comments. We're trying to answer questions and stuff as much as we can and get out as much content as we can to you guys, like he said. So follow along there. And then otherwise, guys, just follow along on the journey. You know, if you have questions and stuff, we're going to be doing some Q&As and stuff the next few days going into this on my IG. Maybe do a live with Xavier here
Cool.
coming out maybe the day of the show, or a wrap up, something like that. So it'll be very, very cool just to follow along, guys, you know. So I appreciate the support as always from you, especially Xavier. You've been a huge support to me and grown my channel and everything. So I appreciate you, man. And I love doing this and talking with you guys and sharing. So
Yeah, and likewise, man, I want to give thanks to you because I did mention you as well. Like, you're like so easy in terms of like, I'm like, oh, can we do this time? You're like, yeah, like pretty much all the time. Like, unless you've got something booked in, like a massage or something like that. Like,
yeah,
you're always very easy with all that sort of stuff. Like, you promote the stuff, and it's much appreciated. And I've said the same, you know, to Brett as well. Brett's been fantastic, as same as Nathan too. Nathan does the show at like 10 or 11 at night and goes. We've gone to like 1 a.m. his time before, and he's just been completely cool with it. So you guys are awesome, and I'm very blessed to get you guys on the podcast, and it seems like it's growing. And I think we'll, you know, from time to time get some more guests on as well, because the show was really, really good, getting those extra guests on and getting the opinions of you know, Chris Cormier, Lee Priest, and all that sort of stuff on the contest, and some people that were in Tampa.
I'm pumped to see that one. I'm interested to watch that one.
Yeah, man, you'll like it. I think it went for, it had to have been probably 2 hours or so, I reckon. So yeah, it's a cool one. And obviously you get a good mention in the show as well. So, but Brett did want to sit out the prediction. He's like, oh, I think I'll sit this one out. And I'm like, hell no. So I forced him into it, man. He didn't want to, but I forced him into it, which is quite funny. But anyway, bro, thank you so much for coming on. I wanted to do this one-on-one with you because, you know, people only see you on the podcast, and it's a different dynamic when it's, you know, you get that sort of interview where it's focused on you, and you deserve that coming into this contest because you're doing some awesome things in bodybuilding, and it's much appreciated what you're doing for me and all that sort of stuff as well. So thank you so much, bro, for coming on once again. So for myself, Xavier Wills, and Martin. Oh, wait, I'll give you a chance to thank your sponsors as well before we wrap this up.
Yeah, for sure. So huge shout out to Gas. Really, they're the only ones that take care of me right now. So appreciate them, you know, and Branch. Big shout out to them, as well as you, man. I really appreciate you and helping me grow this. So
Man, my pleasure. Like, honestly, you deserve it. You got great content out there as well, not only on your YouTube, but on your IG and all that sort of stuff as well. So I love to see it. Cannot wait this weekend with Texas Pro. Make sure you get the pay-per-view. I'll put the link in the description below. Find Martin in on Instagram and YouTube and all that sort of stuff with the links below. And for Martin Fitzwater and myself, Xavier Wills, we are out.